Welcome to our presentation. We aim to offer insightful analysis and suggestions for U.S. companies looking to enter the Indian market. We'll go over several important topics, such as the comparison of the Hofstede cultural dimensions, communication styles, bargaining strategies, the political and governmental structure of India, the state of the economy, and possible product opportunities. We want to provide American companies with the skills and the know-how they need to prosper in the Indian market. Now, let's jump in.
Every country has different cultural norms. The Hofstede cultural dimensions comparisons helps us understand how companies are alike and are different. The biggest difference for America and India is power distance, individualism, and indulgence. India is a much more community focused country, so they're more focused on how they can contribute to their business through others. Power distance. India loves their hierarchy and they love to establish order. It's easier to communicate through peers that they work with well. And with indulgence, they're not likely to give into like whims and impulses. They love order and structure, and America is very indulgent and ready to give into their whims.
When it comes to communicating, India is high context, whereas the US is low context. Low context means communication is precise, simple, and clear. Messages are expressed and understood at face value. Whereas high context communication is sophisticated, nuanced, and layered. Messages are both spoken and read between the lines. In India, they are subtle, whereas in the US, it's more straightforward and to the point. This can lead to misunderstanding, but if we promote openness and provide context, we can help bridge the gap to avoid misunderstandings. India is indirect, whereas the US is direct. When it comes to feedback, Indians often prefer a softer, more indirect approach, while Americans tend to be more direct and frank. Balancing constructive criticism with cultural sensitivities is crucial for effective feedback exchange. When it comes to disagreeing, India avoids confrontation, whereas the US is confrontational. Indians typically avoid confrontation, valuing harmony and maintaining relationships, while Americans may see disagreement as healthy for problem solving. Establishing procedures for resolving conflicts while respecting both perspectives is essential for a cooperative atmosphere. In India, flexibility is a key for making room for unexpected changes, whereas in the US, sticking to timelines is a priority. Finding a balance between adaptability and punctuality will help ensure smooth project management and avoid misunderstandings. The main things to take away is that understanding and respecting these cultural differences between India and the US are vital for us to have a successful collaboration. We need to embrace diversity and adapt so we can foster productive partnerships that thrive on mutual understanding and respect.
So the three things that you need to take into consideration before thinking of negotiating with them is first attitude and style. So their primary approach of negotiation is the distributive and contingent. That means distributing, that means you lose something, I gain something in return, or either I lose or you gain something. It's kind of 50-50. And also contingent means their terms, they are not final, but it's based, they can make changes based on the situation, the events they find themselves. So that's their way of negotiation. And also share of information. Indians don't like rush into negotiating with people. They gather information about what you've said. They study it amongst themselves before they even enter into the negotiation stage. And in order to facilitate the process, you don't need to push them. You don't need to be pushing what you do. They see it as impolite and they might not really trust you. But with them, you have to be more patient and give them time to have all the details you need. And also, they love people that are open with them. When you're negotiating, don't hide anything from them because they have their tactics, their way of communicating is not direct. They might tell you no, but indirectly to tell you, I'm not sure, or maybe we'll talk about this later and all and so on, but they keep on, should I say, like delaying the process. And last is pace of negotiation.
This slide shows a picture of the presidential palace in New Delhi, the national capital of India, and a list of the 3 branches of the government of India. These branches have their powers vested in a bicameral parliament, a prime minister, and the Supreme Court. The current Indian president's surname is Murmu. She became the president in 2022, but her role is mostly ceremonial. The real power belongs to the Prime Minister who leads the government of India, and his surname is Modi. He became the Prime Minister in 2014, was re-elected in 2019, and is now serving his second term. Modi has received high approval ratings in India, but some believe that under his rule, India has experienced a weakening of individual rights and freedom of expression due to the way he handled the past riots in India. Currently, India's political risk has been rated as low to moderate. However, the ongoing Kashmir conflict with Pakistan and the border issues with China continue to pose military threats that could potentially escalate and hurt economic growth and foreign business investment in India.
India is currently enjoying a state of regrowth with a lot to offer foreign investment, assuming we can pass the strict screening processes in place. There is a low tax burden with an EFI score of 73.7, which is so high, and equally high government spending with a score of 73.5. These can fertilize the economy. This is balanced with over 80% of the GDP going toward public debt, hence the very low score of 6.9 in fiscal health. Regulatory efficiencies are above the world average as well as judicial effectiveness. We must prepare, though, for limits on what we can import to India given their protectionist policies. Government corruption is also ripe, with frequent calls to make accounting more transparent and backroom deals happening all over the country. Be prepared to encounter gray area ethical decisions when dealing with officials. I recommend planning exactly what we are prepared to do in these situations and additional oversight in accounting to handle the increased burden of documentation that will be required. I also recommend assigning a team to monitor the ever-changing policies that could hamstring profits.
The Indian government is very supportive of business in the country right now. The regulatory environment of India looks very promising. Here we have several images showing the ease of starting a business in India. The higher the number, the better suited business in India is in that particular area. The top row we see here gives us the scores for starting a business in India. The first one is procedures, meaning the number of procedures and the ease of completing the procedures, and India scores in the middle with a 47. The rest of the scores on the top row, time, cost, and capital required, are all very high. This tells us business in India can be started quickly with a low amount of money needed. India requires no capital investment up front. The middle row of graphs here shows the paying tax scores. Again, India scores very well. The final row shows the enforcing contract scores. Here we find an area that we should be prepared to navigate. When legal action is needed in India to enforce a contract, it is going to take an extremely long time, cost over a third of the claim, and only have a positive outcome 42% of the time. Though starting a business in India is fairly easy comparatively, the recommendation is to keep a tight handle on receivables and not let anything get too far out without policies to reduce the risk of needing lawful enforcement of contracts.
Yeah, one thing we need to know about India tariff. The first things we have to know, what is it? We need to understand that the tariff is a custom duty and merchandise export are called tariff. That tariff gives the price advantage and locally produced goods over similar goods that are imported. And the raise revenue from the government. And one result of the Uruguay round was countries' commitment to cut the tariff and ban the consumer duty to rate to the level that are difficult to raise. So as we can know, among the highest in the world, India is the fourth in the classification to import tariff and trade agreements.
FDI has various benefits, but there can also be disadvantages, especially if there are unforeseen costs involved with political changes. The companies might end up losing all the profit generated from the investment due to the unforeseen increase in costs. Recently, the Indian government has taken several measures to create a more favorable environment for businesses to invest in the country. These measures include reducing corporate taxes simplifying the process of hiring workers and relaxing previous regulations. These changes are making India more attractive to investors from all over the world because they are making doing business much easier in India. Foreign direct investment can bring wealth, resources, technology to the host country, but it can also cause people to lose jobs and hinder economic development in investing country. It involves multiple governments and can potentially lead to different political risks and economic uncertainty. Therefore, it is essential to carefully consider the costs and benefits of foreign direct investment in each situation.
Just 10 years ago, India was a member of the Fragile Five, meaning it was one of the worst 5 economies in the world. And now it's one of the top 5 economies. The country has come a long way in such a short period of time. A high percentage of the GDP is domestic consumption, and it ranks 63rd worldwide in ease of doing business. The service sector comprises 50%, so the GDP is very evenly split between the service and the product sectors. Industrial and agricultural sectors employ the most people in the country. Overall, the economic conditions of India look promising. The government is supportive. Business is booming. Good numbers are consistent and growth is happening hand over fist. India has markets ready for the next business venture, and we should be in on it.
The currency in India is the Indian rupee. Over the last 5 years, the rupee has had the loss of 16% value due to inflation. This is concerning because as the American dollar stays the same, the Indian rupee will continue to fall in value, making it more difficult for India to compete on a level playing field with America.
India suffers from a lack of electricity, so our first value proposition is a portable umbrella-fold solar panel mounted on a tripod that has bolts that you can tie down to secure it so it won't fly away, and also secure it so it doesn't get stolen. It is an underserved market, although there are many related companies, Tata and Adani being at the top. However, they all offer technically the same product, big, bulky, boxy solar panels that are hard to move, hard to install, and not very convenient. Our differentiation is that our solar panels are light, they're flexible, they're secure, and they're compact. The portable nature of these might help with potential cultural issues, such as a collectivist mindset in the minds of Indians. These can be shared with neighbors to give benefit to all.
When activated, our portable personal safety device emits a high-pitched 130 decibel alarm. The alarm is activated by pulling the top off the device. The siren can be heard from 600 feet away, drawing the attention of anyone in the area. The device is designed to emit the alarm, scaring off the attacker, as well as alerting others to the need for help. Once the device is activated, it sends an SOS signal showing the GPS coordinates of the device. The device is simple to use and easily concealable for your peace of mind. Product proposal number 3 is our WonderGrow fertilizer. India's agriculture industry has not been able to produce enough food for everyone. Imported fertilizers are needed to increase the production yield. India has not been able to get the needed fertilizer, like last year when farmers protested in many parts of the country due to shortages. Our special blend of nitrogen and diaminide phosphates are designed to be absorbed and cling to the soil. This revolutionary blend adheres and is designed to withstand washing out of soil during monsoons. Although India wants to be more independent with producing its own fertilizer, it's currently dependent on overseas purchase. Our marketing team will want to be considerate of the desire to be self-producing and come across as helpful and caring.